Okay, so reflecting back to the beginning of the semester when I looked at my professional development plan, some of my professional goals were work-life balance, improve my decision-making process, organization, and the ability to adapt to kind of new circumstances and things like that. Um, Work-life balance was kind of off for me at the beginning of the semester. I didn't have a regular schedule, which I know athletic trainers have to be adaptable anyways and change their schedule. Um, but I was kind of working with MyoFit, but I wasn't working as much as I wanted to. So I wasn't getting what I needed to out of it. So it's hard for me to have a good work-life balance, even if it's not perfectly achievable. Um, Now that I am working with ATI, I kind of really struggled at first just going into it in the middle of the semester and trying to keep up with my school and everything. Um, it started to level out, and I definitely feel like I am better now and kind of have the break to catch my breath, even though I'll still be working because I don't have vacation time. So, um, I definitely feel like I'm okay now, but starting a job in the middle of the semester was definitely not ideal, and it made me struggle, I think, more than I expected it to. Usually I just don't think that those kinds of things affect me. I just overcome them and move on. But I think it did have an effect more than I would have liked to admit. Um, my decision-making process is kind of a little different in the industrial setting. So it's kind of really funny that I put that on there now that I think about it. But after the talk that we had using prompts to kind of show, okay, this patient is improving, so I'm going to continue to work with them rather than referring them out, has been a huge help. I definitely think it's something I'm interested in, possibly like researching or being another project or something, because I think it's something that could definitely be used across the board because it's not regulated and it doesn't make sense to me. But it just gives another perspective and another thing I can document and use, rather than just, I mean, I can show that they're improving with a clinician rated outcome, but to have that extra patient report, I think is huge in my documentation, and just with that discussion with the patient in general. So that's something that has kind of helped me make the decision that, yes, they're improving, and this is why, so I'm going to continue to work with them. I put organization on there. Part of that was because I just got certified at the end of the summer, so just figuring kind of things out with MyoFit, which kind of fell through. But then with ATI, and the person she was a PTA that I took over for with ATI, and I think she looked at things differently. I mean, we're different healthcare providers, so things are a little different. So her organization and mine are pretty different. So even just coming into this role, I had to spend extra time just getting things organized, even to the point to where like files weren't kept in a locked drawer, things like that. So there were a lot of minor changes that had to be made. I say minor just because I didn't have to get anything, that there was a cabinet there that could be locked. I mean, it's right there in my office. It was in her office. It just wasn't being used. So stuff like that. But as far as organization, I think for the most part I have been pretty good on this semester. It just has been changing since a job transition, like I said. One thing I think that has been affected with starting a new job as far as organization, kind of my attention to detail changed, and I don't know. Usually I'm really good about like reading an assignment description and including everything and making sure I have everything. And once I started this job, I think I got a little overwhelmed, and I would think that I had everything, but I didn't. So that was something I think I lacked. I think I'll be okay start next semester. I think it was just kind of settling into a process or a plan or that work-life balance. I wasn't being attentive as I think I should have been, with some stuff like that. And then the fourth one was my ability to adapt, which I think just how I was raised is pretty good, because that was something that I talked about at my TED Talk, actually, about adapting to failure and things like that. I think that I'm okay with that, and definitely this job has shown me that I can adapt, because industrial athletic training is so unbelievably different than I ever would have thought, than just, I don't want to say normal athletic training, but something that's more of a regular setting that you would see. And it was hard at first, because there's a lot of information and stuff, processes that are different and things like that. But definitely adapting to it was part of it, and learning it was the other part of it. But I definitely think that I've come a long way, even in the 2 months that I've been there. So that is something, I guess, that I'm proud of. My educational goals had a lot to do with research. So we just finished our research proposals, obviously. I may do some minor stuff over break, just because sometimes it's nice to do some research and not have to have a deadline for it. Or I may not do any of it over break. I don't really know, to be honest. I do have a list of things that I took from my presentation and the discussion that we had. There were quite a few things that I hadn't thought of, which is the point of that. But I wrote all those down when I got back to my seat, because there are a lot of things that I want to implement and figure out how to make this project the best that it can be. So I may research those ideas over break. If not, it's something I'm going to look at the beginning of next semester, and I'm not sure exactly how our assignments go as far as developing our project more next semester, but that's something that's kind of on my agenda. Some of those things I'm looking at were implementing a prom, so that we have the patient perspective of, do they feel better after Graston or after a massage, or whatever. And also, someone brought up a great point about an exact Graston protocol, and I had some specifics in there that I had researched and thought of already, but as far as a couple of other things I needed to include, so that's something I'm going to look at. As well as working with people at Lilly. I know that was a concern. I would like to do that, because they're like the epitome of general population, and there's not a lot of younger people, so I'm not sure if that would mean my age would have to be changed. I'm not sure of that yet, but that's something that I want to also look into, and probably work with Dr. Games and Dr. E about, if that's possible, or if I need to look at other options, which would be okay. And I think that's everything on my list. So thank you.